underperforming municipalities in the Free State came under the spotlight during the COGTA Portfolio Committee's two-day oversight visit to address service delivery challenges there. In the latest municipal audit outcome, the Auditor-General decried the worsening state of the province's municipalities. Now, for more on this, we're joined now by the chairperson of that portfolio committee, Dr. Zweli Mkhize. Kabazela, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on this afternoon. Members of the legislature have now done a thorough, I suppose, and a firm assessment of the Free State municipalities. What do you come up with as far as performance of these municipalities are concerned? Money is being spent on salaries, on councillors and so on and so forth. Are we getting service that is due?
Thank you very much. The portfolio committees of COGTA, SCOPA and the Standing Committee on the Auditor-General came together to go and pay oversight visit in the Free State, and worked together with the Speaker and the Free State, as well as the similar committees in the Free State, as well as the Premier and the MECs. Our assessment is that there's a lot of work that needs to be done to turn around many municipalities. The Free State has got the very large number of municipalities which has got what we call disclaimers, which means the Auditor-General could not even make an opinion of what they'd done. There are also a number of them that have not been submitting the reports for a proper assessment. Otherwise, there are also challenges of huge debts, where most of the municipalities are in debts with a lot of creditors, but also some of them are even unable to pay salaries, and others owe ESCOM a number of, a huge amount of debt, as well as some of the water utilities. And of course, as we would expect, the challenges then become communities not getting proper services. Water shortages are reported, and sanitation, contamination on the rivers, and all of these are issues that are being raised. So when we went to pay this oversight visit, we were emphasizing on two issues. There has to be accountability for all the transgressions. There has to be consequence management. And so we went through all the municipalities that had to appear before this combined committee. And part of the reason for us to do that is because the Auditor-General raised the issue to say last year the report was the same, and in some instances it's getting worse. What is Parliament going to do about it? And we discussed this with the Speaker, and in Parliament we agreed that we need to hold everybody collectively responsible now for ensuring accountability, and that's why we got in there. So the issue at the end is that the situation is quite unsatisfactory. You can see some are really struggling and others are trying their best. So all of these are issues that we have to work on to make sure that we turn the municipalities around and make sure that they deliver services to the satisfaction of our people.
There's an edited clip, Kabazela, doing the rounds on TikTok, but I'm sure you will remember this particular interaction where you were trying to ascertain from one of the MMs and one of the mayors, what actually do they do after getting close to about 150 million rands in salaries a year? Just watch this, and I want you to tell me whether you think this is a municipality that's struggling or there's something else that's going on here.
How much do you pay out in your salaries?
Our monthly bill for salaries is plus minus 14 million. Yes, Chairperson.
How many employees that need so much?
You have now paid yourselves and councillors and everyone 155 million. You received 150 million. And I'm asking you, you get paid to do what?
Chairperson, there are services that the municipality is doing, and to cover those services, we use investment.
No. There are these services, 1, 2, 3, 4.
MM and Mayor, can you share with us about the municipality and investment that you had for the past 10 years? When you were using that investment, it didn't even take a year for you to bubudla it. What happened now?
One must indicate that we are a special district municipality.
No.
We are
Look,
special.
no. You are special, you are everything. Describe yourself. I don't want the description. I want to know, what do you do? Just tell us, you do this, you do this, you do this. That's all I want.
It's difficult to explain without explaining how special we are. Yes, we are special.
The municipal manager cannot tell us what the municipality does. The mayor is also struggling to tell us what the municipality does. So it just exists for the mere fact of existing. It has no impact on the material conditions of the poor and the working class. It is just there to take money from the fiscus, that's all.
Kabazan, it raises concern. I mean, are they struggling municipalities, or are they non-functional municipalities? They don't even explain what services they offer, but they have a special dispensation as a district municipality. What does it all mean?
There are two types of municipalities. There are municipalities which are poor by virtue of the structural conditions under which they've been formed, where they've got no base and therefore they can't attract proper skills and they are not able to perform because they're very poor and they're only dependent on the grant 100% or very large to a large extent. That's one group of problems. Then there's another group of problems where they may be having good revenue, but there's mismanagement, there's a lot of malfeasance, and that's the problem. In the case of the one that you've got on the clip, we're a very strange situation here where the fiscus, equitable share that goes to the municipality, they request is 150 million. And every month, every year, they would then spend all of it on salaries, but they actually even overspend on it. In other words, it's 150 million rand that they get, and then 155 million is what the cost of the salaries would be. And therefore, we're asking them, what do they do? Because firstly, we need to understand, once they've finished all the money on salaries, what money exists afterwards for services that need to be rendered. And therefore, we're asking them, what is it that they do now that they've been paid? Then, of course, it's a whole long story, but effectively, we have called for the MECs and the Premier to go into this municipality, give us a report. We have to meet with the minister at a national level. There has to be a very strong intervention from the national and provincial government to look into the way the municipality is structured. You got to reduce a lot of the people who are part of who are receiving the salary, reduce it to a point of being able to understand what services they require. They've got a lot of explanation, as I say, which I won't go into, but our biggest issue is that the municipality would otherwise have been struggling anyway, but the way they're handling themselves is making the situation worse. And these are some of the complications we find in a number of municipalities. Many of them now have actually got a compulsory withdrawal or suspension of the equitable share until certain conditions are met, and therefore that means now the communities might end up suffering because the debts are huge. They've got to withdraw certain of that amount by Treasury to pay those creditors, and they've got certain responsibility that Treasury has to manage so that the amount that ultimately remains goes to the municipality. But in those instances, I've seen one letter today from one other municipality saying to their staff they are not able to pay salaries this week because the equitable share has been delayed. And then, of course, that means that once all the creditors have been paid and all the major agreements have been honored, only the amount that remains will go then to the salaries for the staff. Then the question remains, how much therefore of that remains for services, for infrastructure, for fixing the roads, for fixing potholes, and for rendering electricity services, water services, cleaning up the streets, the rivers, the sewage, so that it doesn't spill onto the rivers. All of these issues are really the challenges that we're getting. So as a committee, we will then provide a joint report which will be coming from all of these committees to the Parliament to explain, firstly, that we expect that the provincial and national government must work and support and monitor all these municipalities, that the audit queries that have been raised don't recur again. And secondly, that there are those municipalities which require an urgent intervention, and that regular reports every 3 months must come to both the provincial and national assembly to be able to assess the progress, and everybody must take responsibility. The Premier, the MECs must take responsibility for overseeing the municipalities.
Talking about
Speaker
taking
of the
responsibility,
municipality, as well as the mayors.
Sorry, Kabaza, talking about taking responsibility, even if you have an MM and you have a mayor that sit and watch this situation go on for years, if not for months, I mean, it begs the question, are they doing this deliberately? Are they themselves incapacitated, and therefore why are they in those positions? I mean, it's not rocket science for you to say we're asking for 150 million and we are paying 155 million in salaries. It immediately tells you that you are not able to do anything. How do you let that situation prevail?
There's a huge problem. The others have got a bit of a misunderstanding. When we say that the local municipalities, the local government, is a sphere that's independent, as such, they think you can take any decision at that level. Now, what we're saying to them is that no, we all are responsible for the services on the community, and therefore you have to account to the structure that you have to make sure that you account. So you will be monitored. You will have actions actions implemented on you based on how you perform, because the Constitution allows interventions at those various levels. I must also say that part of the problem is that the political leadership of the municipalities has to also take responsibility. We've been asking, for example, a question: how do you have a person who was a mayor and a speaker for 5 years, and throughout those years there are disclaimers, but the MM has been the same person, or the CFO has been the same person? Why has there not been any action to remove them from the positions? Because they are not capable of doing. So we're also calling on the political parties to rein in on their political appointees, the councillors, to make sure that they ensure that there is proper governance in the municipalities.
Kabaza, we appreciate your time. Let's leave it there for this afternoon. That's the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, following that joint oversight that they've taken on the Free State